are you two going to be at LA, the RTLA?
No, I will not be at RTLA.
Or what other conferences are you shooting?
I'm going to RWA.
We'll be in Nashville in July.
Woo! Oh, Nashville.
Or Nash Vegas. The question is, would I do the movie or a TV deal? And my question is, my answer is, yeah, I would. If it was the right sort of like package, the right sort of people, and you know, if I felt like, because the thing, here's the deal. It's like I'm about the books. I'm not a screenplay writer. I'm not a playwright. I don't do TV. You know, all that stuff. I just. The books are the thing for me, so there's a little bit of concern on my part that I'm like, shit, if I give this over to someone, it's shut it. If I give it over to someone else.
Yeah, I was thinking I was just getting dinner out of that. I'm thinking I'll take you all out. Well, then prompt her as much as you can. Fucking big, come on. The question is, do we charge the readers to go in the crucible? I don't know. Damn it, they get a pass, we don't.
It's PG-13. But so I don't know, I think that I'd have to, because my thing is I'm given over, like the readers have gotten behind this series tremendously, right? So I pay a huge amount of respect to my readers. And so if I give that intellectual property over to a group that will not do it so that the readers are into it, I mean, it's kind of like it's sort of a compact of trust between the author and the readers. And so to some extent, these are all our books. I'm the idiot who writes them, but we all own that community of people. We all are invested in their stories and stuff. So I got to be careful in making a choice about that. I mean, I think Charlene Harris's stuff totally, like, that rocked. I mean, totally rocked. They did a great job. So, I mean, if something like that were available, I would definitely be open to it. But, I mean, you don't want to violate the trust that you have with your readers, you know? You don't want to just say, like, okay, I want $1 gazillion, so, you know, I'm going to give it to some yahoo out in LA, and then they turn around and no one looks right, the stories aren't right, you know, the place aren't right, and it turns into just like a mess, you know what I mean?
Well, thank you for letting that Facebook.
Oh,
Or the resident file.
You have a group called J.R. Ward is the shit.
really?
Facebook, yeah.
They don't know me very well. Yes.
The writing process for both of you, as someone who, you know, is trying to get into business and writing, you hear a lot, obviously character-driven, you know, you want to do that, and then the plotter versus the pantser. And I was just curious how both of you, I really enjoyed what you had written in your companion. That gave me a lot of insight. But like, what do you see yourself doing? Do you try to kind of have an idea where you want to go and you sit down and you try to write from start to finish, or do you write scenes and
So
kind
you
of...
see how she's like all really put together and sleek and slick, and I've got like buttons and shit hanging off
Yeah.
me? It's a little bit like that.
Okay.
Another bucket of jar.
You buy like a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm here.
No, my thing is I do not start writing until I know exactly what's going to happen in the book. I need to know.
I would never write a word if I did that.
My thing is that my outlines are 50 to 60 pages long, and I do all of my thinking before I hit chapter 1 or the prologue or whatever, because I do not want to run the risk of getting in the weeds 350 pages in on an 800-page manuscript, because I do not have the time in my schedule. If I want these books to come out one every 6 months, I need to rationalize my decision-making process, because although the stories download into my head, how I put them together and how I balance them and where the points of view are, that all matters. And like when an 800-page book is kind of like a giant ship, and you start it steering, and at some point, if you get it off course, you're going into shoals, you could spend weeks fixing that thing. And I can't. If I want to stay on, I do not want my readers to have to wait any longer than they already have to have. I want my readers to know that when we say that book is coming out April 27th and we announce it a year beforehand, they can bank on it. And I take that very seriously. It takes me 9 months to write a book, but the books come out every 6 months. So I have to be very careful with my process. I need everything set out beforehand, or I just lose control of it. I really do.
No, I mean, I'm just,